Good evening, good morning, wherever you're watching me from. My name is DM Peter, and I'm here to enlighten you about some of the few problems that we have as an African continent, in particular Uganda. We've had this dictatorial regime for quite some time now. It's coming to 40 years. Yeah, very soon it will be 40 years. But this problem, however much, yes, we created it ourselves by empowering this man so much. Not even us necessarily, but he kept on changing the constitution and all that, and empowering himself, and taking so much power in his hands that it shouldn't be. But again, I want to look at some of the few things that enable this man to be who he is, to be the dictator he is right now, to have gone so much far away from the African predecessors, those who fought for this continent, for the independence of these countries, to end slavery, to end colonialism, to end oppression and all that was there before. Now here we are with this man called Dictator Museveni, and however much he is who he is right now, but we cannot put entirely the blame on ourselves, because if help was to be there to remove this man, if the goodwill of the whole world was to be there to remove this man, he would have gone. He would have gone so many years ago. Because if you come to think of it, think of people like Gaddafi. The goodwill of US was there to remove him for their personal reasons. They had their personal reasons. And they surely did. They removed him. They didn't need him, so they removed him. For some reason, these people need Museveni. That's why they are keeping him around, intentionally keeping him around. Because now, when you come to think of these bodies that have, I will not even talk of the African Union. It's I don't even know where to start with the African Union. African Union is just pointless, like nothing. It will never help anyone, not even its own members, African members who are members and signatories to this. It can never come up with anything useful against dictators like Museveni. Yes, yet they would have denounced this man, had some action taken against him long time ago. But there's no goodwill. They don't need this. They don't need him to go. They need him around. But particularly, I want to focus on this Commonwealth. The Commonwealth Summit that just ended in Kigali, Museveni was part of it. Now, when you come to think of the Commonwealth, these are countries which were under British rule before, in colonialism. And they started coming together, and when you go to their website, they say, we fight, we're here to fight corruption. We have to establish good rule of law. We have to establish governance. And every year they come up with a declaration. In 2007, when the Commonwealth Summit was in Uganda, they came out also with a declaration to establish good governance, empower youth, and all this bullshit that they normally come up with. And in top of their core values, they say their own principles. Number one is democracy. But this is a person who is a member of this Commonwealth, who has, what's the word? Who has never been democratic for all of my for all of my years that I've been alive. I've never seen anything democratic about this dictator Museveni of Uganda. He imprisons his opponents, he tortures them, he kills them, he poisons, murders anyone who comes against him. We've seen it in history. Human rights is their second core value. Commonwealth, human rights. This is the same person you still go and sit with on the same chair discussing democracy and human rights. Yet in every election, you people send observers and they see what happens when it comes to human rights during elections, even without elections. You send observers and they come back with the reports telling you that there was all kind of atrocities in those elections in Uganda. But the next Commonwealth Summit, you still invite this kind of person. You sit with him on the same table to discuss these values. Not one, not two, but so many people who have come up and even run out of the country on international cameras, CNN, Al Jazeera, capturing all these people having been tortured by the same dictator. And you go in the next Commonwealth Summit, invite the same person to sit with you to discuss the same core values that you stand on. How does that work? The best thing you would say on your website as your core values is that you are there to empower these dictators to torture people, because that's what you do. That's what you do. Especially, I would not, okay, fine, I will not even talk about the African countries which are member in this Commonwealth. We will say they've been dictatorial all the time. I mean, ever since independence got their way, they've been under dictatorship. They've not tested democracy. But what do you guys in Europe, in Asia, have to say when you're living democratically and still sitting with such a man? Let me give an example. Just recently, this Johnson Boris, he resigned. He gave up power because of values. However much he did not do it intentionally, like he was forced. But just the fact that he did give up power, he resigned out of this post. Even his ministers resigned out of shame for what their government has not accomplished. That's democracy. How shameful. Oh, how is it that you don't feel shame for doing such things, but again, you still sit on the same table with such a man? Really? The third one of your four core values is international peace and security. Maybe this is what Museveni has done for you. I don't know. But with international peace and security, in fact, on all your core values, there's nothing Museveni has upheld. He has not upheld anything on your core values. Nothing. International peace and security. You see what's been happening fine, you've not seen, but you hear what has been happening in Congo. And this is not new. There is no international peace between Uganda and the neighborhood. He was in Rwanda, he was in Congo. He's still in Congo actually right now. Somalia. Looting, torturing people, killing people in the names of, and even other African countries in the names of fighting Kony and looking for Kony or whatever. So where is international peace and unity? Unless you just want him to be there, that he's doing something, he's putting your opponents or people you don't need in check. If you don't need Congo because it's not part of the Commonwealth, so you need Museveni to check it, maybe that's one value that he has held up for you as the Commonwealth. But the Commonwealth has not helped in any way. And the fourth one is tolerance, respect, and understanding. Wow. Tolerance, respect. Museveni is not tolerant at all. You see what he has been doing to his opponents. Right from Besigye, as much as I can remember. Others I was young, but as much as I can remember. Right from way back. Besigye. He has been out and in and out of prison. He did this to Samuel Gerere. He fought with, I don't know how many people. And recently, the one on the scene right now. You see how he's torturing all people associated with Bobi Wine. He's not tolerant at all. Yeah? This is one intolerant man I know that I've grown to see. Not tolerant at all with anyone. As long as you come out publicly to oppose him, you're going to be the subject of, beatings, prison, torture. As long as you don't support him. You see what is happening with all these traditional leaders, what he has done to them. Political leaders like, there's this, I don't know, I don't even know where to start to count them, that the people he has been torturing. So how can you say that these are your core values and your member countries should take them seriously and uphold them? Freedom of expression, your fifth one. Your core value is freedom of expression. We have seen journalists who are not even expressing their own freedom, but freedom of the people around them. Yeah? Beaten on the streets. We've seen political leaders killed, beaten on the streets, tear gassed, chilling in their faces. Just because of opposing Museveni, or just because of expressing whatever they feel. We've seen people going on radio stations, or even just putting on a color of an attire which does not support or which does not reflect the ruling power, and these people are beaten on the streets. They are run over with the vehicles of the army and the police, in police uniform and army uniform. They run over these people in their cars. They kill them. So you cannot say these are core, fine, there might be core values of your own organization, but your members are not respecting them. And you have so many. The rule of law, separation of power, good governance, access to health. You have, I don't know how many, 14 or... And the 14th one, access to health, education, and shelter. Wow. Not in Uganda. Not in the Uganda I know. in the Uganda I know is where Minister of Health will come out or go to Parliament, ask for this kind of money for this kind of for this certain disease, whatever is happening in the country. They pile up this medicine in their warehouses, and after some time they will say the same kind of medicine and value in money, the same medicine that was asked to whether immunize or whatever that was, that medicine is going to be banned because it's expired. That's in Uganda. That's the Uganda I know. And they'll come for a supplementary budget, whatever, extra. That's the Uganda. But the big problem I see with the Commonwealth, you people have democracy in your countries, and you are signatories to this, especially the UK. You are the overseer of this. UK is the overseer of this. But it doesn't matter what happens. They will never hold any of these countries accountable for these atrocities. Instead, they keep funding them. Of course, Commonwealth, they don't have an army, a united army that they will send to Uganda and fight dictators and all this. But this is not the only way. You keep empowering this man, they keep empowering him with so much funding. They give him money. This is the same money that they give him, whether to make sure that he oversees all these core values of the Commonwealth. But this is the same amount of money he uses to buy guns, tear gas, and batons, and all kind of stuff, just to torture people. Just to torture people. Why is it that you have these values, these core values that you all lined up in your charter, but you don't have repercussions for member states that violate them? That's the whole thing. If you put up values or responsibilities as each member should go with, then you should put up repercussions or whatever will come out of that in case someone violates them. Otherwise, what's the use of putting them? Of course, we have the growing member states which are still young. I take African countries as still young compared to Europe and America when it comes to democracy. You people are so much far way ahead in democracy. They are so much far way ahead in democracy than us. That's why they were so democratic that they even thought of, years after, they thought of, let's go expand somewhere else. Let's go and, partition Africa between ourselves. Okay? You did that because they were so democratic at their place. They still have people who can still resign out of their offices, out of shame, out of pressure. It doesn't happen in Uganda. Amidst all this, the dictator, just recently, I think it's yesterday or he appointed his sister, leave alone his wife, who he made a minister of different things that she has no idea about. She messed up the whole education system. But the UK, the overseer of all this, and fine, leave alone even Chogam, but we still follow so much of the UK policies from the education syllabus. the political policies, the parliament setup, the government setup. We even use your money. We even use shillings, for Christ's sake. We even have our national anthem in English. So much for independence. We even have our national anthem in English. At least Rwanda, they have theirs in Kinyarwanda. We still have it in English. But how is it? How do these people sleep when people are being tortured, killed, starved, no health care at all? Poverty is like the extreme, and Dictator Museveni has the audacity to come out and say we've elevated to third income, whatever. That kind of bullshit, really. But we have all these bodies that shouldn't even be just out of courtesy for you people, for countries which are democratic. They should protest they should protest this. Commonwealth, yes, but they should uphold the common values that you people put together in your charter when they are starting up all this. So human rights can be observed. Human rights needs to be observed. All this healthcare, education, youth empowerment, gender equality, all these things that they lined up in their charter, nothing is followed in Uganda. But they still sit together with this dictator, invite him. This is a man who should be on a wanted list, international criminal list, that anywhere he goes should be arrested. Prince of Wales, Prince Charles, he comes, sits there. Boris comes and sits there, and all these other people, unless you guys want to tell us that no, they just see Uganda as a monarchy. Let's say Brunei, that Uganda should be ruled, that Museveni is a sultan now, is a permanent monarch, and our kingdom name is whatever, Museveni is the king. So you don't want to interfere with a monarchy, with a kingdom. But this is a democratic country. It's a sovereign state. Recognized. You recognize it. I will not even go to United Nations. The most immediate body that I could see, that I could think of, which would have an immediate outcome, something to show the world, is this CHOGM. But this dictator and these bodies keep on popping up. Now we are talking of East African Community. But countries like Tanzania, Kenya, which we regard as democratic in this region, how can they even sit with this man discussing East African Community when he's invading neighbors? Congo just recently came in the East African Community, and they're already in Congo fighting, stealing, again stealing. They stole before, timber, gold and all that. Again they are there stealing on a fellow member. And we want to make East Africa. We have a dream of Kwame Nkrumah, of African United States of Africa. When we still We have dictator like Museveni still stealing from the neighborhood, evading other neighbors anyhow he wants, putting army anywhere he wants, killing people, exiling people, even right in your own country. In Tanzania, in Kenya, we have exilees there. People seeking asylum. In all these European countries, we have people who have run out of Uganda just because of Museveni to seek asylum in your country. You have all these on record. We have reports in the International Criminal Court. We have complaints, we have cases against this same person. How is it that these people don't see the red flags everywhere and still fund him, still give him money to torture people that you see on live TV being shot at, being ran over by military police and military? Someone comes out on national TV and say, he was beaten. A minister comes out and, yes, the government has power to shoot you and kill you. A minister of the same government you're supporting, of the same government that you're funding, a member of your Commonwealth, a member of the same Commonwealth, who is supposed to uphold all these values that you've listed. It's a shame. It's a shame. It's a big shame to all these bodies. Our forefathers who fought for this nation must be turning in their graves when they see this. There are red flags everywhere. You need to stop funding this man. The Commonwealth, European countries, and all these people, International Monetary Fund, they need to stop funding this man. They are the ones empowering him. All these guns. Last time I saw a clip, he's talking to Putin and saying, you know, we used to buy guns in cash. Now we want you to give us guns and all these ammunitions on credit so we can pay mpola. Really? These are the same guns that he's going to use on wananchi, the common people. A person who put on a red color t-shirt because it's associated with people power, they will take him out. I think they have powers. We have these orders from above that have been running around since. Order from above. The European countries that have tested democracy and they know how democracy works, they are the same countries empowering this dictator against the common people of Uganda. If they have the goodwill to stop this, they can. Cut off the funds that you're sending to the dictator to buy ammunitions, to empower him with so much money, which totally ends up bribing each and every minister or every member of parliament, of causing all kind of atrocities. Even members of parliament who would have value, who would think of the common people who elected them, the rich in parliament, or they are compromised just because they are poor. It's a corrupt country. It's a corrupt government. They have to get their way in any way possible. It has to come to their way. If they don't kill, if you refuse to be bribed, They'll put you in prison. We have members of parliament who are rotting in prison. It's coming to a full year now, with absurd cases against them, stupid cases, just because they couldn't have them on their side in their own way. If they don't bribe you, they'll stamp charges against you, they'll poison you, they'll kill you in any way they can. They even kill their own. They kill their own people. The Commonwealth has no meaning right now unless all these core values that they put down in their charter are followed and they're imposed on their member states to see them through. Just as they say, we monitor this, we monitor that, you don't monitor anything. My country is bleeding. Uganda is bleeding. And it's too bad that it's the very common man who has nothing on his name keeps losing even the little he has, just because you people, the CHOGM member states who could oversee all this, are just empowering this dictator. For God and my country.